Good afternoon and welcome to Mike and the Hoss on Wolfeboro Community Television. I'm Mike Danais.
And I'm Charlie Hossack.
Charlie, we talked about it a little bit last week. We are getting into the slow time again at Kingswood Sports.
We are.
Most of the seasons have wrapped up, and we're gonna wrap up those seasons for them, and talk about how they went, and then we get some Patriots talk.
Yeah, sounds good.
Some Bruins off to a good start.
Absolutely. Celtics are doing fine.
Celtics are
3
doing
games
fine.
in.
Okay, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
They're doing fine.
Yeah.
And we do have a couple debates that we want to talk about.
Okay.
Things that have happened in the news lately, and I think it'll be good for us.
Yeah,
I think it'll be good for us. I don't know if we're going to agree, but I think it'll be good for us. Let's kick it off with Kingswood. So we did the football game last week.
We did.
The Knights took a bad loss to Pembroke.
Yeah.
It was a bad loss. I don't know how else you're going to put it. They were favored. We expected, some of the scores that we were seeing, predictions that we were making was double digits anyway.
Yeah, my own prediction is I predicted Kingswood to win and win big. And I know that our fans are starting to hear this name all the time. Beak. He's the assistant baseball coach for Kingswood. Great guy, Bill Rollins. And I want to apologize, Bill, because it seems that every time I make a prediction, it goes the wrong way. So at least for the next couple weeks, I'm going to stop making predictions.
Well, there's only one game left, so you're not going to have to do
Good.
do it for a couple weeks. Just this week. I think you should get back up on the horse and make another prediction, though.
I don't think so.
So they lost to Pembroke.
Yes.
A team that they should have beaten.
Absolutely.
They came out flat.
Yep.
They came out flat, and nothing was working for them in the first half.
No, it was a tough. They were down 17 to nothing in the first half, and it was a struggle. It was
probably safe to say that Pembroke played probably one of their best halves of the year too.
Absolutely, made very few errors. And very few penalties. They looked good, as far as from the point of how good Pembroke can look.
Right, as good as they could look.
Right.
And Kingswood looked as bad as we've seen them over the at any point this year.
Yeah.
Even when we go back to what they did against Bow or the Plymouth games when they were outmatched.
Sure.
They looked better at times than they did in that first half.
I agree. But halftime came along and they made some adjustments,
which was good.
They made some great adjustments, and they came back out with a single wing and Jackson McCullough under center, and they were able to put up 14 points and actually had an opportunity. They were driving late in the fourth quarter, deep in
Pembroke territory.
Yeah, and a couple things happened unfortunately, and they came up short, 17-14.
So that knocks them out of the playoff hunt.
Sure.
They were teetering anyway, but that certainly knocks them out. But their own playoff is coming up against their arch rival.
Absolutely.
The Kennett Eagles are coming to town for the Carroll County Championship.
Yeah.
The biggest game. This has been the biggest game of the year for Kingswood over the last 20 years.
Right.
Just because we haven't been in the playoffs.
Right.
So it is their playoff game. Kennett is still, I think, playoff eligible.
Oh yeah, Kennett's going to qualify for the playoffs.
They are going. They're
definitely.
Okay.
It's interesting. I spoke with Coach Skelly this morning, and he said even if a team was like 0-8 going into this game, that this is their Super Bowl. This is what the kids look forward to.
Well, I think it's good news that Kennett's going to qualify.
Yeah.
Because maybe they're going to look past the Knights.
Right.
And the Knights, this is their last game, and they have 13 seniors that this is their last football game that they're ever going to play.
Right.
And so maybe that's going to get the best out of them, and hopefully it does. And I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Knights are not going to be favored in this game, which I think is a good thing for the Knights.
Right.
Because they haven't handled being favored very well.
No. And it's been rare that they've been favored, but you're right. And really, this whole week, it's kind of this week. They're obviously into the practices for the week for Carroll County Championship, the Pizza Barn Bowl. We call it. They go out and they sit with the coaches and the players get together and they enjoy pizza and some camaraderie. And it's more than football. It's about friendships. A lot of the Kennett players and Kingswood players know each other from other sports that they've played and grown up together. So it's a really awesome week of football. It's one of the things people have said to me, do you miss coaching this year? I do this week. This is the week that I miss coaching because the
Pizza Barn?
It's not because of the Pizza Barn. You're a funny guy. But it's about that. It's about those connections and that tradition. And that's what happens this week with Kingswood Kennett.
It's been a long time since Kingswood won. 17 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
That's a long time, and so this also draws a great crowd because Kennett travels very well, and they certainly have had their issues this year.
Sure,
there's a lot of drama.
They had a lot of drama.
And Kingswood's drawn pretty well this year.
Yeah.
We're up on our perch, and so we're able to get a pretty good look. And the student section's been full every single game,
Absolutely.
even on the rainy games. They got the lined along the fence, and it's the visitor section that's been pretty empty.
Yeah.
Which
not this week.
Not this
so
week.
So Kennett's going to be coming. Plus, with the senior night, and you have so many seniors, it's just awesome. I mean, the festivities that they're going to have, and just it's a great night. If you haven't been to a Kingswood football game this season, this is the game to come to.
All right. Both soccer teams finished their seasons.
They did.
Unfortunately, the boys soccer team finished winless.
They did, yeah.
But I think
hard-fought game in that last game against Stevens.
Yep, and you went to all the games. Obviously, your son was playing, and you felt all year long that they were improving. They were improving, and I know they are losing a couple seniors. That affected them. Brian Wynn and
sure. Yorgos Morphopoulos and Will McNamara.
That's right.
You're losing your captains.
But I think there's a pretty good youth movement in soccer too.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I'm expecting they're going to get some wins next year. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting that, and there was for a winless team, no drama came out of that.
No.
Team, and whenever I went to go see them play, and I know you went to all of them, they were in those games. They were trying.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of effort. So, nice job, Coach Kelly, as far as that, because it's not difficult.
Well, it's not Coach Kelly's the girls' coach. Coach Nelson.
Coach Nelson, sorry. Coach Nelson.
Yeah.
It's we know as coaches, when your team is really good and you're winning a lot of games, coaching's pretty easy.
It is. Yeah.
It's when your back against the wall, and you're trying to keep emotions in the right place and keep the kids' attitudes positive. Mm-hmm. Especially when your team starts losing every game.
Right.
That's when a coach does a job, and that's when they earn their money. So, Coach Nelson, well done. And Coach Kelly, well done too, because the girls did manage to get it.
Yeah, they got us their second win.
They got their second win,
which is awesome.
So they bookended their years, right? They won their first game and their last game. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
But it's always nice to go out on a winning note.
Yeah.
And so, nice job.
It's similar with the girls. You've got a lot of players coming up through the system, and so Coach Nelson with the guys and Coach Kelly with the girls. They're going to have some successful soccer programs in the next couple of years.
And there are a lot of kids playing at the middle school level.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids playing, which is going to create numbers, but it's also going to create competition.
Yeah, which you need.
You need to have kids try out for a varsity team and make a varsity team, not just just hopefully have enough kids
just
for a varsity
show up,
team.
Right.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Volleyball's in the playoffs.
Yes.
They are playing on Thursday. We're taping today's Tuesday. This week on Thursday.
This is Thursday. Halloween.
And I forget who they're playing.
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know either, but
they're hosting. No, are we not hosting?
I don't think we're hosting.
We're on the road. I thought we were hosting.
I think we're on the road. We finished 10th.
Oh, the 10th. We're on the road.
We had the 10th spot. I want to say Merrimack Valley, but don't quote me on that.
Okay. That's awesome. So playoffs and
very good. I think that they struggled down the stretch. The girls did a little bit. Mm-hmm. They did win their last games against Pembroke, but
they had a lot of injuries throughout the season.
They did, and they were up, and when we first started talking about the volleyball team, they were a second, third place, in that range, and so they certainly have come back down a little bit. Coach Place is pretty optimistic that they can do some things.
Yeah.
So best of luck to them. We are still going to try to have Coach Place at some point.
We'll get her.
It's going to be a post.
She may have to call in. So.
And field hockey team, we kind of corrected ourselves last week. They did make the playoffs. We had them out. They got in the back door of the playoffs. They ended up losing to Merrimack Valley last week. I think it was a 2-0 game.
It was.
And
I heard they did. For the people that were there, said they did everything right, unfortunately, except put the ball in the net. So they played well.
Ultimately, that's the object, And
really,
it is.
Score more points than your opponent.
I read a book about that.
But congratulations to Coach Riley for making the playoffs when it looked like they weren't going to.
Yep.
And they got some key wins towards the end there to qualify. So that's nothing to hang your head on.
No, and the field hockey team is perennial playoff contenders.
Yeah.
Just been you count on your hand the number of in the last 20 years that they haven't been in the playoffs. So I think Coach Riley's going to expect them to be back in next year and probably be even more competitive than they were this year.
Yep.
So best of luck to them. Cross country, I was actually reading in the paper that they won a meet, or came second in meet up at Kennett, I believe.
Right.
I don't know what the name of
And
the
so
meet
they
was.
just had the state meet last Saturday.
Okay.
And Joseph Wasson is going to he qualified for the meet of champions.
Oh, good for him.
So I was talking to Josh Spalding about that. I guess it's the top 25 runners, and he met that criteria.
Well,
so this Saturday is the meet of champions. So good luck to him.
Yes, best of luck to Joseph, and congratulations on a good year for the cross country team.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I guess there was a little drama at the end with the ladies team. I guess they missed it by a tenth or 100th of a second. So it was Josh was telling me that. So they're that close as well.
Wow,
So,
a tenth of a second, 100th of a second.
Yeah,
One thing when you're talking about a 50-yard sprint.
Sure.
When you're talking 3 miles or whatever you run through, that's not a lot of time.
No.
All right, so next week there's not going to be any Kingswood sports. We'll talk a little bit about volleyball,
Right.
and we're going to have to start getting ready for the winter sports. And hopefully we can start getting some coaches in for previews.
Yeah, that'd be great.
When they haven't started their seasons.
I know a few coaches have already asked, so
Okay.
we can get them lined up and get them in here.
All right, let's jump to some other sports. Patriots.
Okay.
Obviously, we watched on Sunday. Nice win versus the Browns. Would you agree? Was that a good win? I mean, there's all good wins.
Yeah,
but,
sure. I mean, it was a solid win. I mean, I actually expected more from the Browns, but I'm sure the Browns expected more from the Browns.
Any concerns? Is there anything in that game that concerned you at all?
Well, I'm concerned. I'm still concerned about the offensive line. I'm still concerned about just getting the offense going. I mean, they picked up Sanu, as we had talked about. But I'm just offense. I'm not completely sold. I'm okay. People are saying, well, we know that the defense is phenomenal. Well, but Chubb for the Browns did run, had quite a few yards. But I'm not really worried about the run.
132.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the run defense. The conditions were awful, and if you go back and look at some of the missed tackles, I think a lot of it had to do with the conditions that they were playing in.
Okay.
So I'm not overly concerned about that.
Okay. The Browns have some great offensive weapons.
Yeah.
And I think they have a decent scheme, but boy, they shot themselves in the foot all day long.
Yeah.
A lot of penalties, very undisciplined. Weird things. That fourth down when they intentionally took a.
Yeah.
I read a little bit about it yesterday, and he did not want to use a timeout.
Yeah.
But he forgot to communicate with all his other coaches that he was planning on going for it, no matter where they were.
Right.
And so when they got to fourth down, they sent out the punt team, and he said, "No, we're going for it." But it was too late, so they took the penalty. I don't think I've ever seen that happen.
I haven't either. I mean, it's Freddie Kitchens as the head coach. And
Well, your percentages are better at 4th and 16 rather than 4th and 11. So
yeah.
that was kind of crazy. The big news, I guess, is let's start. No, Belichick got his 300th win.
He did. Yep.
And 300 wins. I was trying to do a little bit of math on this. That he's been coaching for about 23 years as a head coach.
Okay.
I think this is his 23rd year because he did 3 with the Browns.
Yeah, because he was coaching back in '92.
Yeah, 3 with the Browns, and then this is his 20th with the Patriots.
Yeah.
If you do some math on that, that's about 13, 14 wins per year, average.
Yeah.
In football.
That's a lot of wins. I mean, when you're playing 16 games.
You only have a 16-game regular season, and then at most you could play 4 playoff games, I guess.
Yeah.
But usually the most is 3.
3. Yeah. That's wow. That's amazing. So his winning percentage is significantly.
His winning percentage
high,
is well over 700.
Yeah.
He wins. I think it's like almost 8 games out of 10 that he coaches.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And so a little bit of debate: is Belichick the best coach ever in any sport?
In any
Coach
sport.
Hossack.
Oh, let's see. In any sport.
In any sport. So let's if you were going to say basketball, who would be your number one coach? I mean, of all time.
For basketball?
For basketball.
Number one coach. Gosh, I didn't even think about this. I would probably say like John Wooden.
John Wooden.
Yeah.
College, yeah. So college. Red Auerbach.
Yeah. Red Auerbach for pro, sure.
Phil, what's his name there?
Mr. Yoga.
Yeah, Mr. Yoga.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
So those are your three, and so Auerbach won 10 titles, I believe. I think he won 10.
Yeah, Phil Jackson obviously won.
Phil Jackson won 9.
Yeah, and then think of John Wooden at UCLA.
I don't even know.
I don't know how many.
There was a lot. All right. How about baseball? Managers. Joe Torre, he won a few.
Joe Torre, I like Tony La Russa.
Tony La Russa, he won a few. I think La Russa won 4. I want to say he won 4.
Yeah.
Sparky Anderson won Casey Stengel, if you go way back in time.
So you get quite a few there. What about hockey? You're the hockey guy.
Scotty Bowman.
Okay. I do know Scotty Bowman.
So he was a Montreal guy and a Detroit guy. He won a lot of titles.
Yeah.
Other hockey ones. I don't know. They're not coming to mind. But so we go back to Belichick. In this day and age, with free agency, in a 16-game schedule, that to be up at 300 wins, 10 Super Bowls. He's been to
10
as a head coach.
Yeah.
No.
Well, he's got how many rings? He's got
Brady's 6-3.
Yeah.
So he's been in 9 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He's been in 9 Super Bowls. He's 6-3.
Well, he's got 7 rings, doesn't he? Because he won with not as a head coach though. He won with
No, he's got 8 rings. He won 2 with the Giants.
Gotcha.
2 with the Giants. It's hard for me to say that he's not the best coach ever. There's some homerness in there.
Yeah.
And I get that because it's a root for him, but it just feels like there's an extra guy out on the field for the Patriots every time they play.
Yeah.
And they have not had the most talent on the field, and I would argue that even going as soon as last week, they did not have the most talent on the field.
No.
Especially offensively.
Right. Yeah. When you look at the Browns' offense.
Your quarterback's 42.
Yeah.
The running back for the Browns was considerably better. The receiving weapons were considerably better for the Browns.
Yeah. You got Odell Beckham Jr.
And Jarvis Landry.
Sure.
Their tight end made more plays than our tight end did.
Their offensive line is better.
Defensively, Myles Garrett, boy, would that guy look good in a Patriot uniform. Yeah. But yet, it was really never much of a game.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it really wasn't.
And one of the things that I said about Belichick is that both teams can get 300 yards in offense, but the Patriots are going to win by 20.
Right.
And think about that.
Yeah.
Just because he'll play the field position game if he needs to, he'll go for it when he needs to go for it. He won't when he needs. He'll punt when he needs to. And it's just that there seems to be he's playing chess when the other guys are playing checkers.
Right.
I don't know in all these other coaches that we talked about, is the discrepancy between the coaching as great as it is with Belichick.
Well, let me just back up a little bit, and I don't disagree. I think Belichick probably is the best coach ever, and we had talked about this on a previous show. What is the most difficult sport to coach in a game? I don't mean practices and stuff like that. In a game day decisions, and for me, I say it's football, like when you're playing the actual game.
I don't think there's a close second.
No.
I really don't. Because every single play is a decision. It's a decision who's in the game,
right,
what play they're going to run, and you're matching up against another coach. Whereas in hockey, you send 5 guys out there, they're executing a game plan, but those 5 guys out there are responsible for basically what happens.
Right.
Same thing in basketball.
Right.
Basketball, I think coaching at times can be important, but if you have the 5 best players on the court, you're winning those games.
Right. Yeah, it's important during the time. With basketball, it's important during the timeouts and halftime adjustments and things like that. And in baseball, you're giving the ball to your pitcher, and you're hoping your catchers, and then hoping the guys feel the ball behind them.
Right.
And you can hit the ball.
Right. In baseball, you're not. The manager's not yelling swing every time that he wants to do
well,
it.
Some are, but yeah.
So I don't even think there's a close second. And
sure,
where Belichick even gets even better is that he's also really the general manager of the team.
Right.
He's putting these teams together under the salary rules, and getting them as a cohesive unit to win.
Yeah,
and they win.
Yeah.
So, it's hard for me to argue that there is a more important, valuable coach in the history of sports,
right, than
Belichick. And we are so fortunate that we've spent these last 20 years watching. I mean, I know he certainly has his issues with the media,
Of course.
but it's kind of fun to watch that
yeah,
stuff too.
I mean, it's now it's really enjoyable.
It is.
I know, and they showed you on the game the other day, like when he was with Cleveland. He had a different personality. It's almost like as he matured.
Did you see the cooking show? Did you?
The
get
cooking show was fantastic. Yeah, we got a kick out of the
cooking with Bill Belichick.
the BBPB&J, right? Bill
Yes.
Belichick.
I did
peanut butter
actually
and
pick
jelly.
up something on that. Did
Yeah.
you? When you make a peanut butter and
Yeah.
jelly, do you put peanut butter on both sides?
You know I do, and the same reason I do because I don't want the
I didn't
jelly
know that.
to
That
come
was
through.
that was the new one.
Yeah.
My next PBJ is
So
going to
I
be the BBPJ.
I may be like a Bill Belichick peanut butter and jelly guy as far as my abilities.
It's going to be weird the next time you make a peanut butter
Yeah.
jelly sandwich. You're going
Be
to
thinking that. Well, I'm
be
always
thinking
gonna-
about Bill Belichick, and
Yeah.
that might be too much at that point. All right, let's. We got 7 minutes left.
Yeah.
Bruins.
Yeah.
They're
hot.
They're hot. Our concerns, or at least my concerns, are unfounded now because they're showing that they don't have that hangover.
Right.
They beat St. Louis the other day. Whippy, I wish I would have beat them 4 months ago.
Yeah.
It would have made a much more enjoyable
Yeah.
summer. But
I mean, I think what's happening is kind of actually, it's maybe what I said a little bit. I think they're hungry. They didn't, they lost Game 7. It's the same team came back. We've talked about this,
Yep.
but I think they want to win it all, and they're going out and they're just beating the opponents.
they're beating the
They're
opponents
just-
in every way.
Yeah.
They are beating them offensively. They're beating them defensively. They're beating them with goaltending. And this is the hardest part of their schedule.
Right.
Right now, this is the schedule up until Thanksgiving is the hardest part,
Yep.
and they're taking care of business.
Yep. And you said come Thanksgiving, typically that's where the teams end up.
Yep.
So-
And right now they're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Celtics got off to a tough opener.
Yeah.
They played Philly, and they did
did.
not look good.
They didn't.
I was a little disappointed in that. But the next 2 games they've won, and they looked much better. They beat the defending champion
Yeah.
in Toronto.
Beat the Raptors, and then they beat the Knicks.
They
But
beat the Knicks, but
Kingswood beat the Knicks. But but 2-1, and they'll play tomorrow night in Milwaukee. So I think it's coming together.
Well, this is going to be the big test.
Yeah.
Is Milwaukee. They're really with Giannis, and he's playing great basketball right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like a 7-1 guard.
Yeah.
The way his skill set is, and it's crazy. That's going to be the big test. I mean, I think what you're going to see with the Celtics is I think they're going to beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and they're going to lose because they're not there. They're not at a Clippers level.
Right.
They're not at a Milwaukee level. I don't know if they're at a Philadelphia level either.
They may not be.
And that's. I thought that they were going to challenge at least for the second spot and then maybe get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not sure. Based on that Philadelphia game, it's a long season.
Right.
It's a long season.
It was the opener, and
They just don't seem to be playing like your classic Brad Stevens team.
yeah,
There's not that gritty hustle. They're not moving the ball around
Right.
as well. I mean, they did a little bit better. They certainly did better, but maybe they're still dealing with Kyrie and that hangover. And Kyrie seems to have brought all his energy into Brooklyn because, wow, I mean,
Yeah.
he really picked up where he left off.
He did.
Scoring a lot of points and creating a lot of drama.
Yep, absolutely. So I wouldn't worry about the Celtics just yet. I mean, we're going into game 4, so
Okay.
it'll be fine.
Red Sox were able to hire a GM,
Yeah.
guy from Tampa.
How do you say his name? Is it Chime? What is it?
Not going to try today.
No, I just tried.
I need a week.
to
a week
figure
to
out
try it. He's got some big decisions.
Yeah.
He's got huge decisions. Some of the biggest decisions that any new GM has ever had to deal with.
Yeah.
He's got to hopefully or possibly trade the reigning, last year's MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to either hopefully keep J.D. Martinez or let him go. That's more Martinez's decision.
Right.
And then he's got to figure out a way to get $40 million off the payroll.
Yep. So where do we start with that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think over the next owners' meetings are coming up, and I think that those decisions are probably going to be made over the next couple shows for us.
Right.
And so we'll be able to put the Red Sox back in
which is good.
on our agenda. I mean, we're both baseball guys, and
Sure.
we want to talk about them. I did put a debate topic for us. We're kind of running out of time, but I think we have some time.
We do.
There was a ruling in California ruling.
Yeah.
and were you able to look in on it
A little
all?
bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's basically stated that college athletes can profit from their endorsements.
Right.
They can make money from their endorsements, which has never been the case before.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question is should college athletes be paid or be able to get money from some of the money they generate for
the college or
colleges?
university? Yeah. So I guess I'm still old school. If you are fortunate enough to get a college scholarship to play for a university, that's your pay. You're being paid to go to school for free. Now here's the deal. I hear about people say, well, if I got a college scholarship and I got injured, I would lose my scholarship. No. The deal is if the college is willing to take you on, and then it rides for the 4 years so you can get your college degree and you're paid for that. So freshman year, if you injured yourself and you can never play the sport again, then that's unfortunate, but we're not taking away your opportunity to earn an education. I have a really hard time with paying college athletes like we do professional athletes. Here's a solution. If you want to pay someone, like let's use baseball for an example, you can be drafted out of high school and you can go play in the farm system and work your way into the major leagues. Let's do that with other sports. I mean, if you don't want to go the college route, and maybe there's a basketball farm system, a football farm system would be kind of a reach, but maybe there are farm systems so you can become a professional. Because the minute you get paid, you are no longer an amateur. You're a professional athlete, and I don't want professional athletes playing in college.
Well, that's what makes this California ruling really difficult because they're going against the NCAA amateur status rules, and if Charlie Hossack Jr. signs an endorsement deal in California, then theoretically he's not eligible anymore. He's no longer an amateur, and so he can't play. I'm torn on this. I asked my class today about it, what they thought, and they were all over the place. And I get both sides of it.
Sure.
One of the things that you just said, that if they go to college, they're on scholarship. Well, not all athletes are on scholarship when they go to college.
Understand? Yeah.
And so they might need to get a second job to help pay for things, and and I've got 2 in school right now, and it's expensive.
But if you're at a college and you're not on scholarship, you're not getting endorsement deals. They're not taking Charlie Hossack Jr., who didn't earn a scholarship, and then say, "Hey, would you like to be on the cover of this magazine or this video game?"
Good point. So, but should that college athlete, I think you and I fall on the same spot on this one anyway, but do you want that college athlete showing up freshman year to this tryout where he's a freshman, he's trying to work his way up, but he pulled in his Lamborghini because he signed a contract with Nike?
Yeah, I certainly don't want that. Yeah.
Is that going to change what the innocence of college athletes and that amateur status?
Mm-hmm.
My suggestion would be maybe part of the problem is that these college sports programs are earning ridiculous amounts of money. The coaches are making $6, $7, $10 million a year. But it costs a lot of money to get into these games now.
Right.
And you get television contracts. Why don't everybody just roll that back a little bit? Say, do we need to be does our football program need to be showing a profit of $65 million?
Right. So if you're using that, take that money that the football program's making, and why not help the other athletes? Help the girls' ice hockey team, or help the gymnastics team, or roll into those programs where they're not going to get the fan base and the excitement.
So my suggestion is that you don't pay college athletes, you give them a living stipend.
Okay.
Because a college athlete should have enough money to go get a piece of pizza or go do their laundry, or whatever other things that college kids do, and they don't have the time to go out and get a job because
their
Division I college is 24/7.
Sure.
So why not a stipend? Why not a livable stipend of $100 a week?
Okay.
That and now it's not just the football players that you'd have to do
every
it.
athlete.
Every athlete, if you are a full-time athlete, that during the school year you are going to get $100 a week or $50 a week. Pick a number.
Yeah.
That's a living wage. That's a stipend. So that want of going to get money and cheating the system a little bit isn't there anymore.
Right.
They can go out and get pizza and go out to dinner, take their girlfriend out to dinner.
Sure.
Maybe they feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that.
I don't know. I'm going to call the NCAA with that suggestion.
All right, let's do that. All right.
I think we're out of time, Charlie.
We are.
Anything else?
Nothing.
All right. That's going to do it for us at Mike and the Hoss on Wolfeboro Community Television. Thank you to Allie behind the screen. and we will see you next week.
Go Knights.